Have you ever really stopped to think about the air you're breathing right now? I mean, it's mostly nitrogen, right? An element that's absolutely essential for all life. And for pretty much all of human history, getting enough of it to grow our food was one of our biggest, most persistent challenges. But then one man came along and changed everything. He literally pulled food out of thin air. And in doing so, he shapes the entire modern world. So let's get into how he did.
Just look at this number for a second. 50%. Yeah, by some estimates, half of the people on Earth today are alive because of one single industrial process. That means the food that supports nearly 4 billion of us is directly tied to the work of this one chemical engineer. It's a scale of impact that's, well, it's almost impossible to wrap your head around.
And that man was Carl Bosch. And his story, well, it's a fascinating and really complicated look at the power of science. His work is the classic double-edged sword, a breakthrough that could both sustain humanity on a massive scale and, at the same time, provide the raw materials for its destruction. So who was this guy, really?
Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to start with the global problem he was trying to solve, this huge nitrogen challenge. Then we'll see how he tamed the air itself. After that, we'll follow the journey from the lab to the factory. Then things get complicated with an uncomfortable alliance. And finally, we'll grapple with his incredible, lasting legacy.
All right, let's set the scene. It's the early 20th century. The world's population is exploding, but our ability to grow food just can't keep up. The world was facing this critical shortage of nitrogen-based fertilizers, things like guano and natural nitrates that were essential for decent crop yields. Seriously, experts were predicting mass starvation. Humanity needed a brand new source of nitrogen, and it needed it fast.
So where did the solution come from? Well, believe it or not, it came from the most abundant source you can possibly imagine, the air all around us, which is about 78% nitrogen. In 1909, a chemist named Fritz Haber showed off this small tabletop device that could literally suck nitrogen from the atmosphere and combine it with hydrogen to create ammonia. It was nothing short of a scientific miracle.
And this right here is the core of it all. See, the nitrogen in the air is locked in what's called a triple bond, which is one of the strongest chemical bonds in nature. It's incredibly stable. The process uses insane pressures and scorching temperatures to basically break that bond apart and force those stubborn nitrogen atoms to react. The result? Ammonia. And ammonia is the building block for synthetic fertilizers that make crops grow like crazy, but it's also the building block for powerful explosives. A truly dual-use technology. But here's the thing. Haber's discovery was just the first step. It was proof of concept. It worked on a tiny scale in a controlled lab. But turning that delicate little experiment into a massive industrial process that could churn out thousands and thousands of tons of ammonia, that seemed completely impossible. And this is where Carl Bosch really enters the story. What's so great about this slide is how it breaks down their roles so clearly. Haber was the discoverer, right? He was the scientist who proved it could be done. But Bosch was the engineer, the industrial titan who figured out how to do it on a colossal scale and do it safely and affordably. He swapped Haber's super rare catalysts like osmium with cheaper, more practical stuff. You could say Haber opened a door, but it was Bosch who built the entire city behind it. And the challenges he faced were just immense. I mean, he had to invent entirely new steel alloys and furnace designs that can handle pressures 200 times that of our atmosphere, plus insane temperatures. Hydrogen, under that kind of pressure, was known to make steel brittle, which meant a catastrophic explosion was a constant, deadly risk. But Bosch and his team at BASF, they overcame every single one of these life-threatening hurdles.
So the successful construction of that first plant in Oppau, that wasn't just another factory opening. No, this was the beginning of the end of famine as a natural check on human population. It's for this work, his work in high-pressure chemistry, that Bosch would go on to win the Nobel Prize in 1931.
Bosch's incredible success propelled him right to the top of the industrial world, but his rise happened to coincide with one of the darkest chapters in German history, and it forced him into a very uncomfortable and ultimately an impossible position. So his career really peaked when he co-founded and then led IG Farben, a true chemical giant. But then, just 2 years after he won the Nobel Prize, the Nazis came to power. And Bosch, who was a big advocate for international scientific cooperation, immediately found himself at odds with their repressive nationalistic agenda. He was very open in his criticism of the regime's policies, especially their anti-Semitism.
And as you can imagine, this stance put him on a direct collision course with the government. He was slowly but surely pushed out of his leadership roles, sidelined from the very company he helped build, and he eventually fell into a deep depression. His principles had cost him his power.
So, how do you even begin to sum up a life like this? Bosch's legacy is really a story of profound contradictions. It's a mix of incredible creation and the potential for unbelievable destruction, all woven together with this deep personal passion he had for the natural world.
And this right here illustrates that central conflict perfectly. The exact same ammonia that created the Green Revolution and fed billions of people also gave Germany the nitrates it needed to produce explosives for 2 world wars, especially after its natural supplies were cut off. His invention was a tool, and it could be used to either build up or to tear down.
To really, truly understand his impact, just think about this fact for a moment. Right now, about half of the nitrogen atoms that make up your body, your muscles, your DNA, everything, they were fixed from the air in a Haber-Bosch plant. His century-old invention is, quite literally, a part of you.
But Bosch wasn't just some one-dimensional industrialist. He was a man with this immense curiosity. He was a passionate collector of, well, everything, from insects to minerals to meteorites. In fact, his meteorite collection was so significant it was later bought by the Smithsonian. He even had his own private observatory. There's even an asteroid named after him, which feels like a fitting tribute to a man whose gaze was fixed on both the Earth and the heavens. Which brings us to a final big thought. Carl Bosch's work saved billions of people from starvation, but it also enabled destruction on an unprecedented scale. It really forces us to ask a difficult question. When a scientific breakthrough has the power to do so much good and so much harm, how do we judge the person who created it?